And now, your official TigerBait live show with Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy starts now.
All right, welcome in. The Haley Van Lith watch is still in effect. We're waiting to find out what she's going to do. Is she going to come back at LSU another year, or is she going to go to the WNBA? Of course, Angel Reese already did today. Mike Scarborough here with Buddy Songy, the Pride Roofing TigerBait live show. A lot to discuss tonight. LSU baseball, can they get well with Vanderbilt coming to town? Jay Johnson had a press conference earlier today. LSU football practice. We had Joe Sloan yesterday, Blake Baker tomorrow, scrimmage on Saturday. And, of course, we're right around the corner from the spring football game. All that to talk about and national anthem controversy. If you want to touch on that, maybe we can a little bit. I think a lot of people are ready to turn the corner, but it doesn't seem to be dying on social media. And no doubt LSU, Kim Mulkey and the brass at LSU would like for that one to go away. It's a nonsense story, but if you guys want to address it a little bit, we can do that as well. But welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, Mike, as always. Mike gave me the week running and burning the candle at all ends. I know he's a little younger and he can do that. But that being said, I have a different take. And first, I want to start off with the game. LSU Iowa. I echo the sentiments of both women's coaches. And look, I beat up the committee, and I'm not going to talk about 9 inches short on a 3-point line, and not talking about not having enough hotels in certain regionals and all the mistakes that they made. But it is absolutely incredible when you talk about 12.3 million viewers. It hit the apex at 16, 12.3 average. And that was on ESPN, not a 3-letter network. The same two. It was an insult to Iowa and LSU. LSU was supposed to be a 2. They just, even after winning 2 games in the SEC tournament, they put a absolutely ridiculous. You said, no, I don't think so. Trust me, that game should have been in the Final Four, and I think both coaches echoed that sentiment. That being said, best first half I have seen in a long, long time. 45 up. And Caitlin Clark, if you don't understand, she is the best women's college shooter, and Steph Curry is what I see. I've never seen a woman be able to seamlessly jack it up from 30 and more, 25.
And not only that, it's there was one that she does it all the time. This one where she's running the floor and then she'll pull up just barely past half court and she's still got momentum because she's running to a spot and then she lets it fly. Those are almost always automatic. I mean, it's crazy.
Logo threes, but here's my point.
Yeah.
9 threes in this game and a great ball game as evidenced by the numbers. But I really wish it would have been in the Final Four. That being said, my take tonight, folks, is that everybody out there in Tigerland, you've been spoiled. Kim Mulkey in year 2 won a natty. And even though there were injuries and even though there was controversy and defections and all kinds of squabbles and all that, when you see them play and you see them get better and better, you just expect them to get in the Final Four and compete for a natty. And they almost did in light of all of what was going on in the background. Jay Johnson on the same thing. Wins a natty in year 2. It's not that easy, folks. And yet now, myself included, you're sitting here second guessing the coach and the players and the new pitching coach and everything. So look, we said this a couple times. Iowa and South Carolina live vicariously through their women's basketball teams. LSU fans, be happy that you've got many teams to live vicariously through. But I think instead of being critical and beating it up, once again, thanks for an incredible season. We're all watching women's basketball a lot more than ever. It's becoming more of a moneymaker as far as the bottom line. And this thing is getting better and better. You're going to have monster ratings. Of course, Carolina, NC State Friday after Friday 5:36, whatever, and then Iowa and UConn. Gino Auriemma. He wants to prove he's been pretty good. 23 Final Fours, and I think he's got like 11 championships. So it's great for women's basketball. But did you ever think when Coach Mulkey came in here, she would just not only she's like Saban and Spurrier and all these Bertman, she's changed the SEC back to this rivalry with Carolina and
my question is, all right. I mean, look, you got a group of guys that you talk to on the phone almost daily or multiple times a week. How many women's basketball fans has she created? I know guys that never stepped foot in the PMAC for a women's game, even during the Simone and Sylvia Fowl years. And I see them in the arena when I'm there.
Yeah,
and they're talking about it. They're talking about the women's game more than they're talking about football. So I will say this. I think a lot of people, regardless, all the stuff that's gone on off the floor, the created controversies, that has worn some people out. But either way, of course, Angel Reese declared earlier today she's going pro. She's at the Pelicans game right now and getting a lot of love on the Jumbotron at that game. And but we're waiting on Haley Van Lith. And what has she got till 9 o'clock? I've been hitting refresh. I've got alerts. Got 2 stories written. One she's staying, one she's going, and we'll decide which one goes live once she puts it out there. But you know, is she coming back? I tend to think with her production and you know, maybe she needs to. Or is it just, you know, kind of it's run its course, college basketball, and you take your shot and you go pro?
Yeah, well, she said she'd give Kim 1 year, and Angel said 2, and that's what worked out. I just wanted people to realize that as upset as you are, I don't think officiating affected the game, and that's really good to say. But B, I don't ever think I will ever see LSU women play another woman make 9 3 balls in an Elite 8 or a Final Four.
I predicted Elite 8. You predicted Elite 8. That's what it was. Might had the bracket been drawn up the way you wanted it to, might it have been different. You'll never know. But it was obvious to me in October, November when we started seeing them. They were missing a true point guard. You know, what might this team be if Alexis Morris had that another year? You know,
and then what might have it not been had Angel not rolled the ankle. That was really a show. And look, this is going to be interesting. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are 2 of the big reasons. Now, Iowa's been blowing out people. And for people that went to the game, they told me it was 85-90% Iowa fans to LSU. So it was overwhelming crowd support. And but to get those numbers, those 2 these kind of numbers next year? Good question.
For some reason, my computer decided to latch on the Wi-Fi versus the cord going directly into it. So I'm seeing some intermittent issues. Sorry about that. All right, let's get to it. If you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button. And Big Conus Kelly right off the bat. Good evening, Mike and Buddy and fellow TigerBait BFFs. Glad to have you with us. DA with a thumbs up. Hey, guys, I guess HVL is staying. We don't know that yet. I tend to think I've been thinking all along she was leaving, but I don't know. Your mind starts playing tricks on you when she's taking it all the way to the last minute. Mike, don't forget to press the go live button. Remember last show? Absolutely. Thanks again to Charlie Hannegriff for filling in for Buddy last week. He and I had a great conversation for the first 20 minutes. I wish you guys could have saw it. We were just talking away, and then I realized
Mike, this is the other thing I wanted to add real quick. After the game, Scott Van Pelt and ESPN, I mean, it is balls to the wall talking about this. People could feel the magnitude. This is cutting edge stuff. And that's what I was asking the question to you as we're getting ready to go to more, input. Is it going to carry over, or was it because those two women are so special with being able to draw people out to actually go and watch these games?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Flau'jae's the next star. She's the next leader of this team next year.
It's her team
next year.
Is HVL Sting? That we don't know. If you guys see it before me, put it in the chat. But in between and while Buddy's talking, I'm hitting refresh on another tab. Kenny Fudge, glad to have you with us. He says, "Good evening, guys." And man, we're having this Wi-Fi. Man, I get angry when we have technical issues. Andy Whitaker, what's with the women's basketball hate? This is getting ridiculous. We touch on it every week. Some people want to say it's self-inflicted by Kim Mulkey. I might grant you a little percentage of that, but overall, it's over the top. There's some political motivations. It's who she is. It's how candid she is. It's how successful she is. And there's political parts of it. You name it, it's all there. All right. Spectrum Well Care says, Mike, you hearing anything about Patrick Jenkins, defensive tackle, Tulane, transferring to LSU in the portal? Been hearing his name for weeks and weeks. Let's see how this spring plays out. We're going to see how that rolls in the coming weeks.
We mentioned it on this show about a month ago. We heard about it, I don't know, maybe a month ago. I believe it. I think he is certainly one of the pieces to the puzzle that could be there. All I can tell you is he will in and be an immediate starter with Jacoby and Gilroy, and then you got to get a couple more. The guy who you'd love to get is a Makai Wingo kind of kid. Remember coming over from Missouri? You want a big, strong, physical guy, and obviously you got to eat up some space to let Perkins and Greg Penn and Weeks and everybody make tackles. But I think that there's a lot of validity to Patrick Jenkins to LSU. I do.
Trucking with Casper comes in with a big super chat. Thank you for that, Casper. He says, what do you guys think? What do you guys think the ceiling is for next year's team? Also, any news on football? Got to wait and see what Gary Reedus does in the portal. Obviously, you get Samaya off of knee injury. Del Rosario, you could say she's the most improved team player on the team. Absolutely. I keep saying, look at photos of her in October. Look at photos of her now. She's been doing the work, dropping weight. You can see her face getting chiseled. And I think she's getting more confident. She's got a nice short shot. I don't think she realizes how dominant she can be, but still absolutely need a point guard. I think they go look for one of those in the portal, and then maybe one or two others. You operate it like Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys in the early 90s. If you can find somebody better than what you've got and you can get them, then bring them in. But right now they've got to get some portal pieces. As you know, you've got one signee in from the high school ranks in Jada Richard. But what do you think? 2 or 3 from the portal?
Well, it just depends. You could have some ladies leave also. They didn't really play a lot of the bench, and those women could get frustrated, whether it's Janae Kent or Les, and you can't keep everybody happy. But that's the thing, Mike. When you think of the scope of what Kim Mulkey did in 3 years to shape everybody's expectations, and the same thing with Jay Johnson. It's hard to keep up with that pace, but you got to get some offensive rebounds to replace Angel Reese, and that's probably going to take a couple people.
Absolutely. And then he also asks, any news on football? No. The best news is that we've gone out there every day and we go for our 20 minutes, and there's been no knock on wood injuries. And so that's the best news right now. But honestly, especially when they go indoors, if you watch our video, a lot of it looks the same every single day. We go out there tomorrow, and Buddy kind of says that tomorrow's going to be the weakest day of all because of the scrimmage on Saturday, and usually they don't do much on the Thursday before Saturday. And so it's going to be very interesting. Plus, there's going to be a lot of big recruits on campus. So they really amazing job of the caliber of recruits that they had Elijah Haven there Tuesday morning at that practice. And man, he's a real deal. We filmed him, I think, 3 times last season. Super kid on the interview. And, I don't think it's going to be long before he offer. That's my guess.
Hey, I picked this up on watching the film, even though I've not been out there as much as I wanted to be. It's great to get all the quality film, and they've got 3 freshman linebackers, Mike, that are seeing time in the reps. Devon Keys, of course, is wearing 42. He's 6 foot and about 2 1/4. He is a guy that they really like. Tylen Singleton, 46, 6'1", 206, and then Kalaj Cobbins, 48, 6'2", 220. Those 3 true freshman linebackers, early enrollees. It's good to have linebackers. You're going to lose Penn. You're going to lose Perk. And Christian Bratwaite, we got to see what he can do. Obviously, Whit Weeks, what will they do with him as far as blitzing? Look, Harold Perkins. You're going to ask the question. Somebody will ask the question, Blake Baker, tomorrow. Not way to get him free in light of the fact that you don't have all those D tackles you need to do the dirty work. How are you going to get Perkins to utilize his best talents? All of that, you and I agree, still very much a work in progress. But those 3 linebackers, 42, 46, and 48, you will see them at the spring game.
All right, Casper, thank you again for that big time super chat. Appreciate it very much. Real life issues. I think Haley Van Lith is staying. She isn't ready for the WNBA. I tend to think so. Obviously, a lot of people, when you look at what her average was, and I know a lot of people thought maybe she was going to be a better shooter than she was, and on and on. Obviously, she was asked to do something different at LSU than she's ever done. And Coach Mulkey's talked about that many times. Usually in this situation, you would say someone needs to come back, but when they've been in college this long, sometimes people are just, not only that, she's already on her master's. What does she do then? I mean, I asked her that in an interview last week. That's another tricky situation that you're not even thinking about. Yeah. What does she start doing? Working on a doctorate? Start working on a second master's? Go back and I don't even know how you do that.
Well, I know, but the good thing about it is when you get to that point, you don't have to go to school. Not that most of them are obviously.
Yeah, but if you're out of hours, I mean, what do you do?
Burrow and others did some of that. You go to Ohio State, get out at 3 years, and you come over here and play 2 years. We had talk with Higgins today. It's been pretty good when you've been a transfer at LSU. Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Angel Reese, Paul Skeens. I mean, it's not a bad place.
I just think you get to a certain age where you're tired of college.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, listen, and this is part of the tough part about social media. I don't deal with it. You deal with it 24/7, but you see and hear a lot. And it certainly does. If you're thin-skinned, you better not be on it. And so, look, kudos to the years. She played her butt off. Can you imagine what it's like, though? There were a couple times, Mike, she played as hard as she could, gave it all. And when you're playing that hard to guard Caitlin Clark, that's going to affect your offense. But after a couple of those 30-footers, she's like, what can I do?
All right, let's hear from Mike and Alex over at Pride Roofing.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle and metal inventory, we got it.
Property still in disarray from the recent hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. But you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla Espanol.
All right. Give Mike and Alex a call, 855-PRIDE-16. Official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Nobody does it better than them. Best of all, they're going to keep offering that promo. Call them and get a free roof inspection. All you have to say is heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to give you free TigerBait premium subscription for a year. They pay for it, and you can't beat it. It's free and free. And no one better in the roofing business in South Louisiana. Of course, in Hammond, Baton Rouge, Houma, New Orleans, and everywhere in between. 855-PRIDE-16 in a big-time growing operation right here in Baton Rouge.
Folks, you know that they will always give you a free roofing inspection. If you're outside the Baton Rouge area, 855-PRIDE-16. Mike Kirby and the gang doing great things in Baton Rouge. Very busy. If you call them at 275-2041 and get an answering machine, please leave them a message. And Kirby is so good. I had somebody very close to me. He came over there, looked at the roof, said, no, you're good to go. This is not just and they're not going to be on TV every 5 minutes. This is word of mouth advertising. Folks, you're going to like them. You're going to appreciate them. You're going to respect them. You'll have pride because the roof over your head is just as important as a roof over theirs.
Looks like our intermittent issues are over. The laptop finally recognized the Ethernet cord going into this thing, and we should have smooth sailing the rest of the way. All right, guys, let's scroll up and get some more of your comments. Dane Bergeron comes in with a super chat. Thank you, Dane. The way the media is going after Kim Mulkey is disgusting. They would never do that to Dawn Staley. You got that right. I hate that the SEC is tied into ESPN for the foreseeable future. Those clowns are worse than Glenn Guilbeau. I mean, it's almost they're the only game in town. When the CBS contract came up, Fox, we thought they were going to come in and try and bid for it. They didn't. And so it looks to me like the SEC, between SEC Network and ESPN, ABC games are tied in for at least a decade.
Well, first of all, we want to wish Snake good luck with his rotator cuff surgery tomorrow. So, Snake, we pray that all things go well. Tiger Shark, I tell you what, he has really become some kind of spicy. You know. Oh,
he's fired up about baseball. We hadn't even talked about baseball.
I sent him 10 pounds of man-to-smoke sausage, and I meant to do green onion. Now, I think he got the spicy and the hot because he's wound up.
We're recording Dodgers tomorrow. He sent me a list of questions about this long.
But anyway, back to Snake. Listen, I think all of us know that you look at things with purple and gold glasses and Louisiana history glasses and Jags and Saints and everything and all the teams that people care about in here. And the outside media is jealous. Folks, you're only as good as your last win, but they don't like it when you are a straight shooter and speak your mind and adhere to your beliefs and live the way that you live your life.
And now we've had two governors in a row that stick their foot in it or their mouth in it or stick their foot in their mouths about LSU athletics in their first year in office. Remember what John Bel Edwards did about not funding athletics and was it canceling the season if he didn't get a tax increase, whatever it was, whatever his budget thing was.
I looked that up on the internet.
And now, and you know,
February 2016
right.
said LSU may go broke.
Yeah.
That would mean,
of course, that really did everybody a lot of favors, and that was being used in negative recruiting. Of course, Landry, a USL graduate from St. Martin Parish, is doing his business again. He was on TV today. It would have been best for him to actually talk to coaches. Certainly coaches would love to recruit kids that are patriotic and are going to stand for the national anthem and not have any issues. But a lot of this stuff was instituted, and whatever that year was with Kaepernick and all that, and to avoid any issues with the brand and dividing fan bases, they said, you know what? We're just going to stay in the locker room, and we'll come out and we're going to do it that way. And you can understand why they do that. And so, you know, you never know when you're going to kid who's going to want to make a statement or is disgruntled about something that's some tragedy that's happened somewhere in America or the world. And so what do? Some schools might not tell you that that's their policy, but go look at when it's happened. Of course, the flip side of it is a lot of people didn't realize that the LSU football team is never out there for the national anthem, you know, or that this has been going on for years, the men and women's teams. I think the only place where you really notice it is baseball in the Super Bowl. That's where you actually see teams out there for the most part. So,
well, look, just to wrap up the political talk and put this to bed, it's bad enough that we have the idiots at the especially stupid programming network, ESPN, and the crazy people shooting arrows all over the place. And then you got the own governor coming in here and stepping in a pile of doo-doo and not knowing the facts before he spoke. And so our point is that it's one of the negatives about Louisiana. A lot of things but we eat our own because we love to eat. And people get after each other, whether it's fans, whether it's media people, whatever. But this is once again an embarrassment to the state of Louisiana. Somebody saw Jeff Landry and he was barefoot.
Yeah.
And I asked a question, said he put his foot in his mouth not once but twice.
Again, guys, I'm hitting refresh on a tab while we're doing this show on Haley Van Lith. If you see it before we do, please post it in the chat so you can alert us. But as of now, I'm hitting refresh again. There's nothing on her Twitter. And honestly, I'm not keeping an eye on her Instagram. She might be someone that would do it there. But if you see it before us, please put it in the chat. All right. Yeah. Oh, Danny girl. The thing is, even after he knew the facts, he doubled down and gave an interview on Fox News today again about this. Todd Davis says HVL never should have been guarding Caitlin Clark. HVL is not quick enough and is not a good defender. I think maybe at some point, you know, when we get Mulkey again or Bob Starkey, you know, to find out why they chose to do that. You know, I think it was obvious that Flaugier could do it better, but was that maybe something they were worried about that affecting her offensively or wearing her down? You know, the other problem with LSU is they're not deep. And so I don't know what the ins and outs is of what their thinking was there.
I agree with Joe, Danny girl.
Or it might be that the fact that they were also worried about, you know, her, you know, an assist and her kicking it out and feeding it out. And Flaugier's quicker of getting through screens.
Yeah.
So,
well, that was the problem, fighting through the screens. And, and look, the ranges and the angles that she shoots. It's not just one spot on the court, but look, we can second guess on all of that.
And by the way, I don't think it would have made a difference.
I don't either. You got
those balls
to Iowa, Caitlin Clark that night. But I do wish they would have doubled and made the other players beat them more than Clark. But you were not going to stop her that particular.
No, and those other girls were hitting too.
Yeah. And
they were the better team. But bottom line.
Well, it was a hell of a first half. Unfortunately, there wasn't much juice in that third quarter.
There we go. Kenny Haynes comes in with a super chat. Buddy, the Southern game gave me indigestion, so a lot of spice came out. Yeah.
I love it. Listen, that's what it's all about. That's what your site is for. That's what your message board is for. That's what these shows are for. Because you can vent and look, when you get apathy, hey, look, I guarantee you constructive criticism is a lot better than apathy. Oh, by the way, 6, 7, and 2, Thursday, Friday. To show up and believe, because I don't know if they can recover sharp if they lose 2 or 3 this weekend. And you lose 2 or 3 this weekend, you are 3-9. You're going to Tennessee, you lose 2 or 3 there. You're 4-11.
Still had an intermittent right there. So now I'm going to say this is an AT&T problem. Yeah, Kenny's been going off on our message board with some really good baseball posts. If you're not a subscriber to TigerBait, go check it out. We have a great message board, a lot of interaction, and we'd love to have you. And if you're already a subscriber, don't be a stranger on the message board. Make some posts. The more, the merrier. $1, try us out. I think you'll enjoy it. Go to TigerBait.com. Now, I want to talk about KnowNaturals. Of course, they've been sponsoring us now for about a month, and I finally got I got sent a big envelope full of samples here, and I got to tell you, I tried them, and they're fantastic. Especially this one, the rest, the gummies, and they are not expensive, and you can get a 10% discount from simply by using a code TigerBait10. So, Tiger fans, in fact, let me put it up real quick.
This might be the one that the baseball team is interested in. That is energy. Mike, you were talking about BLISS and focus. And
yeah, it's if I can get it to load, there we are. Dispensary grade gummies delivered discreetly to your door with KnowNaturals. Gummies, these gummies are super fast acting. In just 15 to 30 minutes, experience a new level of wellness without needing a doctor's recommendation. BLISS and Rest are the top two that I'm told. And I tell you what, I have a bad caffeine problem. I got a bad problem about drinking Diet Cokes. I drink probably too many grams. In fact, I know I do too many milligrams of caffeine every night. I tried the Rest a couple of times since I've gotten these, and I slept like a baby. There was no hangover. There was no crazy dreaming like some people can get from some of the natural, what's the stuff, the drops you put under your tongue. None of that. It's absolutely, these things are perfect. And again, they're not expensive. And if you use TigerBait10, you're going to get 10% off your order. So go to shop.knownaturals.com, shop.knownaturals.com, and they've got some really nice packages on there. Again, they are not expensive, and dispensary grade gummies, and totally legal. They've got BLISS, Rest, and the
focus
other,
and
focus. I'm gonna try focus tomorrow because I got a lot of work to do tomorrow. But these are absolutely fantastic. Focus, energy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that one when I'm not drinking too much caffeine. BLISS, BLISS and Rest are their top two, and I haven't tried BLISS yet, but I'm telling you right now, Rest is fantastic, especially those of you want to stay away from the prescription stuff that you can get addicted to. This might be the solution for you. Check them out. Yeah. All right. Trucking with Casper, there's just no excuse to leave HVL in the game. Caitlin Clark is great, but Haley Van Lith literally took bad shots and made passes all game long. I mean, look, Poa made some bad shots. There was enough to go around. I mean, Morrow, just nothing would fall for her. I mean, at one time, what did she finish tonight at 3 for 11? But that first half was amazing. Absolutely.
Well, and what I was trying to point out earlier, Mike, is that Kim Mulkey is such a good coach, and Jay Johnson is such a good coach that you could win a national championship in their respective sports in 2 years, and yet people have this much respect that they expect them to carry it over the next year. And it's just, I mean, the baseball guys that you were replacing are through the roof. And it's just not that easy. Look, South Carolina didn't even make it to the championship game last year. They lost to Iowa. But that all being said, you're blessed to have all of the great teams. Oh, by the way, tomorrow, LSU gymnastics, 7 o'clock, ESPN Plus. They're at the Arkansas Regional. Their composite score for the year was 198.215. That is a record. And so expect them to get out of that regional. They will perform 7 o'clock Thursday, and then Saturday there'll be 4. And they're doing great. And guess who kind of shook off all of the haters.
Who?
Get out of here. Beth Tarina sweeping the Aggies. You should tease Kendall Rogers, of course, who likes him Texas A&M. But no, they swept A&M, and they're back.
And of course, D1 baseball, they do D1 softball now too.
Yeah, they're back in the top 5. And of course, that's good news. And of course, as we said, next week we'll give you a lot more with the football tidbits because we'll get to see the real scrimmage, the spring scrimmage, of course, the following Saturday, April 13th at 1 SEC Network Plus. They don't show a lot because there are spies in the stadium from time to time.
All right, those are going to be the 2, No and Bliss. Try those, everybody. Okay, let's see. All right, now let's talk some baseball, buddy.
Yeah.
I know you heard Johnson today and post game after the Southern loss. What is it going to take? Is this team are they what they are? I mean, it sure sounds to me like it all starts with his stars. He needs his stars to play like stars, and he thinks the rest will figure itself out.
When you're in a funk, you lose confidence. And when you lose confidence, you get shaky and you start to second guess things. When you're playing good, I don't care whatever sport it is, you're not thinking. You're just doing it naturally. And the problem that I think most of us has is they went over to Texas and kicked Rice butt 16-4 and then won 3 games. And so they come over there from 4-0. You're thinking they're pretty good. Played an inordinate amount of games. Jay eats, sleeps, and hails, does everything baseball 24/7. And these kids that look like they kind of got tired, they went in and lost 2 or 3 to Mississippi State. So far, I think the key to this down plunge is losing that second game against Florida. They were up 4-2. Remember the strikeout, and of course he got on because couldn't block it, throw him out at first. Lost that game. And it spiraled. Another game against Vandy, the second game of the series. And lo and behold, they lost that one. So they've lost some close games, but they have had trouble on the final game of the SEC series. So you Tiger fans, you got to bring the noise. You got to bring the belief. And you got to bring – and that's the great thing about the LSU baseball fan. Very knowledgeable, very loyal, and they will tell you, still, it's going to be okay. But like I said, they lose 2 or 3 this weekend to Vandy. That is not a good sign for LSU doing anything better than 15-15 or 14-16 in the conference.
Well, it is 8:41. Is the deadline 9 o'clock for her? If so, she's got 19 minutes.
We heard that. Now, look, it's 48 hours after you play. LSU tipped off at 6:15. I think the game ended about 8:30.
Do you get because she's from the West Coast, does she get an extra hours?
No, what I'm saying, it ended at 8:30. And so, but it's 48 hours now. I don't know. And a lot of times these things give you to midnight, but it sounds like 48 hours is right around 9 o'clock. So we'll see.
Danny Girl says, I think we should skip baseball talk for a little bit. It is depressing at this point. I think Danny Girl might be suggesting that LSU is now a women's basketball school.
Well,
because it sure seems like people are still wanting to talk women's basketball, and it's amazing to me. It really is.
Yeah.
Lots of technical issues, says Brad. Yeah. We seem to be fine for a while. Then I start getting little meter issues, and it's got to be AT&T tonight.
I'm blaming it on Charlie
because I'm plugged in, and
I'm blaming it on Charlie. He blamed it on me last week.
And by the way, we got fiber here, so I don't know what it is. All right. Yes. J Dog, LSU ladies softball team is kicking it this year, and that's after losing the third baseman Coffee. They're still trucking. So.
And look, people wanted to bury them. That's what I was talking about, shaking off. You cannot be thin-skinned and worry about what people say. You just got to keep grinding. And I think what we're going to find out here. Oh, by the way, I was the bad guy not showing up last week, and so Mike wanted to take my cell phone away. What do you think about that, Jay Johnson taking away the cell phones?
Well, he's basically saying not in the building and on.
I know, but the fact that it got public kind of bothered me a little bit because I think he should have kept that private. That all being said, look, Jay is a hard-nosed coach. Brian Kelly is a no-nonsense coach. He hadn't won it yet, but Jay Johnson.
Well, is it because you don't want him to read the negative comments? What about the positive comments? Tell them how great they were before the season started.
Yeah.
I mean, it can go both ways.
No, but let's be honest. Young people are on this damn thing. I'm on it. I'm an old.
I mean, and that's why you had the type of post game you had out of Angel Reese and them the other night.
And so
it's a different world.
But look, they got to beat Vandy tomorrow night to get off the snide. And if they do that, we do not know who's going to pitch. Jay did not put out the pitching rotation. Of course, it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Holman usually goes on Friday. He went on Friday last week. Javen Coleman started on Thursday, and Gage Jump started on Saturday.
What's Cassano wants to know, Mike, where'd you get the Brian Kelly and Kim Mulkey candles? What's that specialty shop on Government that came to Baton Rouge, last year? They were always in New Orleans. They opened up here. What's the name of that shop? That's where I got them. You go off Government, you park in the back.
Over by your favorite place.
Not far from Elsie's.
Yeah, close to Elsie's.
You guys name the name of you guys know what I'm talking about. They get those shirts and little Spencer Gifts type of items. If you put the name in the chat, some of the names, I'll tell you which one. I can't remember. But they have them there, or they had them there. We've had those now for about a year. Kenny says the baseball microphone was better today. You know why? Because my microphone wasn't working. I had to use a built-in microphone on my video camera. And so that was basically picking up the whole room. And so that's not ideal, but it maybe for baseball, that actually works better, because then you can hear some of our low talking media members who like to whisper their questions. You might make me rethink it and think shouldn't use a real microphone and actually use the built-in one.
No, I give some shout out to all the media people that went up to Albany and covered. Jacques Doucet, Chester Boucher, Michael Cobble. Cobble was sick.
Jacques was ready to be home.
Yeah.
Albany, when Lobo said what she said about trying to find something to do, I knew she was in trouble. But evidently, the hotels there, they don't provide room service on weekends. Like, they only do it during the week. Like, okay, your city is hosting March Madness, and you're not going to think that, okay, I know we don't normally serve room service or serve food, but we're going to do it this weekend. And they told Jacques, well, we just couldn't get anybody who would agree to work.
We got two bobbleheads.
That's why you don't ever go back to that city.
Yeah, two bobbleheads agreeing, Jaden Daniels and Kim Mulkey.
Yeah.
By the way, they did announce that they were thinking about making some changes for the 25. It was going to be a year or two. Now they're going to implement it, and they're going to have a big powwow. A lot of things went wrong with the tournament. I cannot imagine playing 4 games before somebody comes to the attention and calls it out that, oh, by the way, the 3-point line is 9 inches shorter. Inexplicably, folks, teams shot better from the actual normal line than the shorter line. But how that happened and nobody noticing before, a little foggy. Better get some of these gummies with focus.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Give us some more comments and we'll be glad to get to them. LSU football scrimmage. What do you want to see Saturday?
Well, LSU has, spoiled the fans just as much. And so here it is, week 3. Somebody asked me this question. I'll ask you before I get into that. Where do you think they are as far as an overall program? And Will Wade said it before you ever left. You're so much transfer portal and so much NIL and so much going on. Really, it's a team every year, not a program. But we know BK wants to do it high school and obviously in the portal and graduate champions and all that. But where do you think they are in year 3? Are they where they are? Or are you waiting to see what they put on the field September 1?
I'm gonna wait and see, but I still think because he's got positions that he hasn't met his need through high school, he's still got to get more than he probably wants to from the portal.
Yeah. So
and defensive lineman is obviously that interior defensive tackles. Yeah, guys, get over to Alumni Hall. tell you about the best place to get all your LSU fan gear. Alumni Hall. Shop at their store off Bluebonnet in Perkins Row, or shop online at alumnihall.com. They've got it all the new Nike gear, Champion, Johnny O, Almond Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, and more. They've got the nice polos you've been looking for, hats, Yeti, and all the new LSU baseball gear is in now. They've restocked now twice. They've got the youth jerseys that everybody wants. Shop with them, and you can earn rewards on future purchases with their Hall Pass Rewards program. This discount code to share with my friends and subscribers when you shop, use code TigerBait, all one word, TigerBait, in store or online. Go to the register. If you pick out stuff you want, go to the register and say TigerBait. They're going to give you 10% off. And so go shop with my friends at Alumni Hall and use the code TigerBait to save.
Hey, one other little tidbit that Jay Johnson shared with the media this week that could be a positive. Jaden Newt, who was a very highly touted recruit last year, had the serious injury. And Mike, Jay said this week he is getting real close. Now, at this point, the biggest problem you have because of the struggles of Thatcher Hurd is what are you going to do? Holman and Gage Jump are going to stay in the starting weekend rotation, but what do you do there? When can Newt come in? He hasn't pitched in a long time, so you're not going to ask him to be a starter or anything. But I think the biggest question that the fans have had is the bullpen has not done the job. And look, people telling me that LSU's SEC ERA is 7.5. So cell phones are telling me we should get a decision soon, hopefully, on Haley.
And it's telling me that I need to get him a case that has a kickstand on it instead of leaning up on the Tiger.
Well,
American Patriot with a super chat. Poole getting booted hurt us real bad. Yeah, they could have used her, could have used a healthy Samaya. You know, it's all the what ifs, all that stuff added up.
Kateri Poole could have gotten, I actually had somebody call into the show and say, I would have taken the biggest, meanest young lady, and of course that's Del Rosario, and set a pick. You know how you have these picks and they don't see it, and all of a sudden you look. There was nothing that was going to stop Iowa and Caitlin Clark on Monday night, but Kateri Poole obviously had her moments, but whatever she did, didn't you say she saw a couple times in the game in the PMAC watching the games?
Yeah.
So, but look, it was that kind of season, and I think that if you didn't see the passion with Flau'jae and Angel and Haley Van Lith, you need to go watch it again.
Thank you for that super chat. Yep. Well, it's 8:51 and still nothing on Haley Van Lith. So I'm scratching my head. Is that? Maybe it is till midnight. If you guys have seen anything, I haven't. And I think it was either 8:30 or 9 o'clock. It was a deadline. Is that how she's going to do it? If she doesn't tweet she's leaving, then by default she's staying?
No, well,
I don't know.
Look, you got to figure that coach and Kim was asked about this. I think one of the reporters assumed that Haley had played her last game, and Kim said, "I'm gonna talk to both of them. I hope both of them come back." But Haley did tell her originally, "I can promise you 1 year." And of course, she had graduated.
Of course, Jaden Daniels did that too.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But
and by the way, I wanted to get to something here.
Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr. are all going to be millionaires in less than a month.
David Woodward, hey guys, I listen to other people's commentary on the quarterbacks. I'm interested in what has Colin Hurley. Colin Hurley looks fantastic. I think he turns 17 next month. He looks amazing. And
I thought Preston said last week he turned 17. I don't know.
Yeah, he might have, or he just did.
I don't know when his birthday was, but
it's been recent or it's about to be. And it's going to be very interesting. Look, you got Bryce Underwood coming at midterm. I don't think Colin Hurley is going to be any walkover. And I also don't think Ricky Collins is being any walkover for AJ Swan. So you've got some interesting quarterback battles now for the number 2 job behind Garrett Nussmeier. And I think it's going to be a lot more interesting in January when Underwood gets here, because I sure like what I see out of Hurley. He doesn't look like a guy his age. And It's my understanding and talking to a source that he's absolutely a sponge in grasping everything they throw at him.
But
So,
obviously he's going to redshirt.
yeah, I mean, he needs time. I mean,
he needs time. Look, here's what we see with Nuss. And as we said, we hadn't seen a lot of scrimmage work. You and Preston saw more than I have. But he's got the big arm. Everybody knows he can make the play and throw the football. He's got a bevy of tight ends, an incredible group of wide receivers. A running back is 10 for the spring. But Malachi Lane is 30, and he is going to be a walk-on running back. You'll see him next Saturday. And Joseph Ibu, number 32, is another walk-on running back. And he caught my eye the other day at practice. Obviously, Josh Williams and Caleb Jackson. The pieces there, and you know how impressed they are with the offensive line, especially if they stay healthy. But Nuss, and you're going to have to give Nuss time, along with Joe Sloan, to grow and learn on the job training. And it's not easy when you open up your second start of your career against USC in Vegas in front of millions. But that's what's exciting, because he's the son of a coach. He's got great leadership. He's been around ball all his life, but he's still got to minimize the INTs. And if he can do that, they got a chance. They're not going to be as explosive on offense and have those numbers that you had last year. Put that out of your mind. I mean, that's just not going to happen with those numbers. But they should be appreciably better in defense. And you and I agree they'll run the football more next year.
Chance Babin has one that you probably going to know more than I do on this one, because I've been focused on 3 or 4 other things. Ask Mike, any good news from men's basketball portal? No good news that's done, but certainly they're working the portal. Anything new that you have there?
I thought there was a kid, a Miller kid, that had committed to Oregon. That's Master P's nephew or something. I forgot what it was. It was relation to Master P. Very flashy scorer. They're in on a couple of other kids, and obviously I think he's doing a better job. But right now it's still along. They signed the kid from Kansas State that is going to come in here and probably be a scorer. Losing a lot of players. He needs a handful of players.
Absolutely.
Corey Chess redshirted. And obviously, Robert Miller coming in and Givens the combo guard. So there'll be a lot of new pieces next year for Coach McMahon.
Absolutely. All right. Huey Lipsy, is this LSU baseball team really full of stars? Losing faith. This team seems to be middle of the road. Yeah, it is middle of the road, or is it even to the middle of the road yet? But
let's just go position.
Here's the bottom line: the SEC is just. I mean, what year would you say was the greatest year in the history of SEC baseball? From where you're 1 through 6 were the best ever, and is this one of those years? And that's why LSU, with a bunch of new faces, is looking mediocre when maybe they're not as bad as we think they are. But the SEC is that good. I mean, look at the top 10. I mean, LSU's struggling. Last week they were still 8th.
Yeah. Well, let's just go position by position real quick. Trey Morgan and Jared Jones. Trey Morgan, one of the best defensive first basemen, didn't hit his home runs, but Trey Morgan's probably a little better and more experienced at first base. Gavin Dugas better at second base than Stephen Miley. Jordan Thompson at this point better than Braswell at this point. Dylan Cruz out center. Unfortunately, Paxton Kling is having a sophomore slump. We can go on and on and on. Paul Skeens, there's no Paul Skeens. There's no Riley Cooper. There's no Ty Floyd. You can go on and on and on. Joe Bear, Belosa, one of our great listeners who did business with Pride Roof and PFM said, there's not enough Louisiana guys that know what it's like to have that purple and gold.
That's something else.
In their blood.
I do think that I do think that could be a part of the problem.
I do. I think you've got to have.
I think there's to be some more Louisiana kids on it. And I'm usually not that guy. I usually resent that. I usually don't like that tack, whether it be hiring a coach from here or all that stuff, Southern roots and all that baloney. But I do think that you need some Louisiana kids on that roster.
No doubt. So bottom line is we'll have a better idea. But these next 2 weekends, Mike, By the way, the SEC tournament has 12 teams. So Missouri is a team that LSU plays after Tennessee, and they are really bad, and they should sweep there. But if you take 2 out of 3 against Vandy and be respectable with Tennessee, you got to sweep Missouri, and then you've got to make hay the last 4 weekends in the SEC.
All right, guys, we're going to head out. If you enjoyed the show, please hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell. Please go to TigerBait.com and subscribe. Try us out, our premium for $1. We'd love to have you on TigerBait.com. I'm on the message board day and night answering questions. Got a bunch of great subscribers mingling with good conversation. We got practice reports tomorrow, video from practice. Kendall Rogers. We've got a lot coming your way on TigerBait. Big recruiting weekend. So there you go. Thanks for being with us. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. And as soon as we find out Haley Van Lith, we'll post it and get it out on Twitter and on TigerBait. But as of now, we have no answer, and it's 8:59 p.m. All right, everybody. Good night.
Good luck, Snake.